Second part of Fantasy Gambit today. So in the previous lesson, after e4, c6, we were studying this quite interesting gambit opportunity for white. After the main d4, d5 move, white is just, instead of playing normal e4, e5, or e takes d5, c takes d5, c4, Panov attack, or knight c3 classical line. So white is playing instead f2, f3, trying to support white's center, and in case black is playing very aggressively and trying to just counterattack white's position in the center after d takes e4, f takes e4 and e5. So white is just going for the gambit continuation after knight f3. Force black to capture on d4, and then bishop comes to c4, after which, instead of going into the normal position of Caro-Kann defense, we are reaching very similar to the king's gambit position, where black is having a lot of problem about his f7 pawn. White is intending, after short casting, just to start a direct attack over this weakest spot in black position by playing knight e5 or knight g5. All white pieces are very fast coming into the attack. And in the first part of the Fantasy Gambit, which calls this line, you can just discover a lot of opportunity for white in this position. So how to develop your attack, how to keep the pressure, how to develop your initiative on the black's king side. So when looking on position after f2, f3, we can realize that white is not just having the advantages but also disadvantages. Let's say the knight from g1 cannot be developed anymore to the center to f3. So knight is going to look for other better place. Also, we know usually that it's not a good strategy to develop your knight on the side of the board. So this knight h3 move also cannot be recommended, but white somehow should continue developing his pieces, and the most natural continuation for black is not capture on e4, but just to protect its center by playing e7, e6. For the same idea, let's say, we cannot recommend for black to play knight f6, since it allows white just to win a tempo by moving the pawn after e4, e5, and black's knight has to go or to d7 or to g8, and definitely white is getting slightly better position, or can transpose his position into the standard lines with f4 and then knight f3, keeping also the space advantage and also quite good development of all its pieces. So that's why e6 is the best and the mainstream in this position. So now, if white is just continue playing like bishop d3, so suddenly white is going to lose all his advantage, because after d takes e4, so f takes e4 will just lead to the losing of white's pawn on d4 after queen takes d4, and still white is keeping slight advantage in development after knight f3. However, in case of queen d8 and then just black continue developing pieces, it's a very big question if white has enough compensation for the sacrificed pawn. So definitely also hard to white to recommend move like knight e2, since black just simply could develop his pieces with knight to d7, then black's bishop could go to e7 or to g7 after g6. So this knight from g8 also can go to e7, so black's position is very safe when it's absolutely unclear how to complete the queen side development, and just white has to castle the king and just takes white time bringing all his pieces out. Maybe white has to play at some point knight g3 and then to bring out this bishop from f1, but definitely it's not exactly what we are looking for. That's why after e6 the most natural for white is just first of all to develop the pieces